Introducing spiritual empowerment coach Connie Rose. Connie guides her clients by using several very powerful modalities like EFT, emotional freedom technique, Reiki, and Seichim Healing. Her main driving life is finding her clients' magic and reminding them of all of it, as well as showing them how to find the glory and loving moments that we are all constantly creating. Connie has found her strength on the other side of loss and trauma. This is where she found her purpose through the love of guiding others that have experienced life-changing events, from abusive relationship to miscarriages, betrayal, divorce, and years of debilitating anxiety. Connie is guided by spirit, not only to move her clients out of this space, but also teaching them to forgive and release them from this negative frame of mind. She has created trusting, confidential relationship with her clients, allowing them to be completely raw, real, and discover who they truly are and aspire to be. She is intuitively guided and holds space for people to heal and reinvent themselves to the happiest and healthiest versions of themselves. I have worked with Connie for almost 2 years and have had some incredibly life-changing experience through her modalities. She holds space like no other practitioner I've seen, and I can truly connect to her and trust in this process. Connie has been my soul mama, and I'm so excited to share her all with you. This conversation shows that Connie is truly living in her life's purpose, with her wisdom cup very much full and her heart opened for all the people that enter her world. This beautiful, honest chat about how to use spirituality modalities as a tool to develop further individually, so we can know more about our body's secrets and the traumas that are stored away in the body with lock and key. We talk about how most people want to change specific parts of their lives. However, Connie reveals it is just a symptom and a reaction of a deep-rooted experience that can be tapped into through her modalities. We also dive into relationships and the differences in the way that we express ourselves as the male energy versus the female energy. Well, that's enough from me, guys. Let's jump straight in. Welcome to the Honesty Policy Hour. I'm your host, Stephanie Marie, and it's time to put everything on the table on this beautiful journey of healing all areas of our lives, one deep conversation at a time. Hi, Connie.
Hello, gorgeous.
How are you?
I'm very excited.
Me too. I'm nervous about this one. I don't know why.
Wow.
But that's okay.
Probably because it's exciting.
It is exciting. It's... I feel that every time I see you, you bring up so much for me. Like, in a beautiful way.
Oh, thank God.
No, in a really beautiful
Trigger the shit out of you.
You do. No, in the best way. Because every time we've had time together, it's just been really intense but releasing and healing and lighter every time I leave.
Yeah. Deep as the ocean, mate.
My goodness, you do. You triggered the shit out of me. But yeah, beautifully, in a crazy way. But we met through friends. So one of my girlfriends was seeing you like on a weekly basis at one time.
Yeah.
And she was always telling me about it. I got Reiki done, I got this done, I got healing done. I'm like, who is this person? Where are you going? And then she's like, I'm actually doing a workshop and we're going to maybe Healesville or something.
Yep.
Was it Healesville? And she's like, let's do it. I said, yep, I'm so down. And we just found out we were pregnant at this stage. And then COVID happened and everything cancelled. And then she was like, they're going to do it online. And I was like, let's do it. I need something because we were home so much and I just needed something to look forward to. And that was beautiful. That was such a really nice time.
That was a full moon workshop, wasn't it? Like a course.
It was.
Yeah.
There was a few other women in there and we went on Zoom. Oh, God, Zoom. I don't miss Zoom, seeing that logo. It just gives me PTSD.
I know, right? I know, it's true. It took out a lot of the emotional connection, but at least we had something.
It was beautiful. It really was an important
platform to have, because it did connect us where we weren't physically connected, but it's still annoying.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with tech.
Oh yeah, so did I. This podcast had to really practice that muscle for me.
Yeah.
But it's all good. But yeah, so you were doing healing, Reiki, readings, all the stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about it.
Wow. Well, I guess everything I do, I say that I work for spirit, basically. So I have a connection with spirit and I channel a lot of my work. So I don't tend to prep much. Like, I haven't prepped anything to say to you right now. So whatever happens. I like that authenticity and that rawness. Mm-hmm. But see, I also have a personality that I think about what I say after I say it. So
you and me both.
Yeah. But in that, it sort of takes me out of it. It's just like I channel and I just talk. And that can go anywhere. I like to be vulnerable. I like to be raw. I like to be real. I cut the shit and I'm very direct. So I vibe my tribe big time. We all do. But, so I have a few modalities under my belt. But in a nutshell, it's just I like to empower people. I like to tap into them, trigger them deliberately, press their buttons, just so that they can see what it is that might be blocking them, and then they can work on that to become their best selves. And a lot of the time you don't really need to learn anything. You just have to sort of relearn who you are, or actually who you're becoming, because life takes us on a journey and we're not the same people anymore. And I like to give people the permission to change their mind daily if they need to. Because so many people claim this is who they are, or this is what they believe, or whatever, and they make huge statements. And then a week later, if things change, they get conflicted and think they have to go back to what they claimed last week. And then ego comes in and all this bullshit that blocks people from being their authentic self. Well, the thing is, in my opinion, we're spiritual beings having a human existence, not the other way around.
I agree
wholeheartedly. And in that, we've got to chop and change and be very flexible. And I feel like the last couple of years has really pushed us into that, where we have no choice but to be flexible, hence the Zoom bullshit, and all that stuff. And if people now are still living as if they're in lockdown, so to speak, what the hell? Because we're not. So I like to sort of push people's boundaries and say, okay, what's stopping you? Why are you still influenced by your past? Excuse me. And we're all human, like I say. I still do it, but I catch myself.
So many people still do it.
Yeah.
So many people. Like, they just don't want to leave the house anymore.
Yeah.
They're just stuck at home. They're just, their comfort bubble.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting one, how that really...
Yeah.
That time really stuck. Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I think it was the amount of trauma that we actually went through. And look, I went recently to Queensland and did a Queensland tour. I ran a few workshops, etc., for 10 days. Wow. And I went over there, and it was really interesting to talk about their COVID experience, because it was only up the road, really. But Melbourne, I feel like our energy was heaps different, because I went for a family holiday. We went to Cairns in Feb. And when I came back to Melbourne, that night, I was tossing and turning, and I don't know how I felt being in this energy. And I didn't realise what the energy had done to all of us, because we're all connected, right? I mean, we were walking around shops and we had masks on, and you could look at people's eyes and nobody was talking. There was one day I went and it was dead silent. And there was people in there, and it sent shivers. And I'd look at people and they were empty. And I was like, what's happened? And it was almost like we were just silenced and we were robotic. And that was huge, just that moment. And I don't know that a lot of people experienced that, but if they did outside of Melbourne, it would have only been here and there. But we had over 300 days in lockdown.
We're the longest.
So
was it 300 days?
It was about 300 days, 320 maybe. But the thing is, or 290, whatever it was. But the thing is, the amount of trauma as a collective needs to be addressed. And some people say to me, oh, would you just shut up? Get over it, move on. But the thing is, I don't do that. I have to bring it up to release it. Otherwise, it goes somewhere.
You suppress it.
It stays there.
Bites in the ass.
And everybody around you, because you snap and you become resentful, and like you say, you stay in your bubble.
Yeah.
So I found the energy in Melbourne when I got back into it very unsettling. But we didn't know that. So I didn't know it while we were here. But I had to leave to come back to realise, okay, There's a massive shift, and it takes people like you and me to lift one person at a time. They'll lift one person at a time, and the ripple effect doesn't stop. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to us.
Agreed.
Because we're not going to sit by and just let shit happen to us. And I always say it happens for us, not to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know what your question was anymore, and I feel like I just... No,
that's great. That's the flow of it, baby. Let it flow. Let it go wherever it needs to go.
And that's what we need to do. We need to flow.
We need to flow.
Yeah. And be real.
Yeah, like... We definitely haven't gotten over it collectively. We've just moved on from it because we don't want to be in that space anymore.
That's right.
We're ignoring it. We're running away from it. But, acknowledging it and just understanding how we feel emotionally, how we feel energetically.
Yeah.
And just because every time we do, no one speaks about it. I've brought it up in a couple of episodes, but just generally in conversations with family and friends, it never comes up because people are like, shh, don't talk about it. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
But I think we need to, even doing one-on-ones with people, do you remember that time? Even your partner, having just times, how did you feel in that moment? Because most people's depression went to shit in that time. Their mental health copped it. Mine definitely did.
Yeah.
A lot of ours did. And it was really hard. Having that workshop that you created really gave me that sense of purpose. And I was obviously pregnant at that stage as well, so I was feeling so much. So that was just, I had somewhere to be every week.
Yes.
I had something to do every week. I had homework to do. What was it? So the workshop, I remember we got little boxes and we got some sage. It was just gorgeous. And I still got some of the rollers and stuff that you made us. It was such a beautiful time. But just having a community, because we didn't have any community. So having that, it really helped me emotionally. Because, pregnancy is triggering as hell.
Oh,
and
God, yeah.
That was very special.
Yeah. I mean, pregnancy is triggering as hell generally, let alone all of a sudden not being able to have an extra scan or an appointment and all those type of things. So that was very confronting.
Big time. Big time.
Yeah. You're allowed to feel that.
I know. It was beautiful. I think the biggest healing session that we did, I remember you came over and I just said, let's do... Because you offer a few different modalities, and I just said, I don't know what I want. And you just said, let me just come over and we'll just feel what's right. And I remember saying because my grandmother just passed away, I was pregnant, I had so much that I wanted to release, but I didn't know how to or what to. And you're like, let's do EFT.
Oh.
And I had no idea what that was. Do you want to explain what it is?
So I'm not someone that's really technical. So I just basically say it's a tapping process, and we tap on different points, and it's gentle. And they're different points that lead to different meridians, which also are different organs, which are different emotions. For instance, we hold anger in our liver. So if we want to have a liver detox, don't be surprised if emotion of frustration or anger come out. So allow that, because our emotions are just energy, so they get stuck in us. And when they get stuck in us and we don't allow ourselves to feel things, hence our conversation previously, we can become quite resentful, quite bitter, quite disconnected, isolated, all those things. So we need to let them flow. And in order to do that, this beautiful modality allows you to do it. So you tap on these different meridians. And I actually do have a YouTube channel with little 10-minute videos where you can just follow. And you just tap. And there are some words you can say with it, but you don't have to. And I use my intuition.
I remember those ones. Those were big ones for me.
Yeah. So, like I say, I don't do all the technical. I have to look at my notes. But each point is connected to certain areas.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're doing that, have a look at what that's associated with, and know that one is where you need to work the most or something. So I know a lot of the time when I've got clients, they just stay here and keep talking. And I feel like that might be frustration right there.
What's this under for those that are not watching, that are just listening? It's under the eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, on the cheekbones.
Yeah, on the cheekbones. So there's different points. And
Okay,
there's
cool.
a lot of science behind this. So a lot of my stuff is I just know and I just trust. And people that like certificates, qualifications, evidence, science, all that sort of stuff might think that this isn't for them. But please look at the research, because a little bit of tapping can actually drop your cortisol,
Wow.
your stress levels,
Wow.
break a panic attack within seconds. Like, it is next level. I let my kids go to sleep and I gently
Do you?
tap
Oh,
them.
you're so beautiful.
So that
I love
really
that.
helps.
What does EFT stand for?
Emotional freedom technique.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and there's different ways. There's faster EFT, which is again another level of that, but I don't practice that one. But at the end of the day, there's a place for every single modality, and I don't compare. I've used a lot of different ones over my time, and when I use it, I know it's right for me at the time, and then I might move to something else.
Yeah.
But EFT's really saved me.
Well, when I had that experience with you, I didn't know what I was in for, because I usually like going to readings and Reiki, and that's usually my jam when it comes to that sort of stuff. But I had no idea what it was, and I was like, whatever, let's just do it. Halfway through, I was a blubbering mess about something that I didn't think I was that emotional about.
Yeah.
Which is a similar experience I had with kinesiology.
Yeah.
Because the body holds secrets, the body holds messages, and if you don't tap in or listen or give yourself permission to, or learn how to actually tap into that, it's forever stored in there, and you don't know why something hurts or something comes up.
Correct.
Or sicknesses arise. And I'm such a big advocate for, when it comes to injuries or anything like that, it's usually due to emotional
100%.
trauma, emotional, we just pushed it away, suppressed it,
Yeah.
and something
Yeah.
actually happened. So,
Yeah.
so what we did, we were, I don't even know what we had the messages started talking about, because we were just tapping the temples, tapping under the cheekbones, crossing arms, touching the shoulders, under the armpits, on the stomach, and on the leg, was it? No.
Just
Just the stomach. And we just kept going, tapping, tapping, tapping. And then it was the same order. So head, whatever the order was. And then I was repeating what you were saying. And we started going deeper into just emotional, like, I am myself, I am this person, I am free, I am all this sort of stuff. And it was just, I don't even know what part I started crying, but I just remember, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
Tap, baby.
Oh my God, start tapping under the arms.
Flow. Let yourself.
But it was just really emotional, and I just felt so much freedom. And
right.
like I said, it was something that I didn't really think that it was bothering me.
No.
Like, it probably was at the time, and I thought I moved on from it,
yeah.
but I didn't heal it. I just suppressed it.
Yeah,
and then
that's
it
right.
came up
Yeah.
in this EFT session. But afterwards, I was sitting there, I was like, what? When you left, I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
I love it. See, the thing is, people will come to me and say, this is my problem. But 99.99%, that's not the problem. Their problem is something else. So, for example, let's just say you say, I can't connect with my husband anymore, for example, right? So everything he says just triggers me, and I don't feel like he loves me anymore, or whatever it might be. Now, they might come to me to say, help me feel less rejected by my husband's behaviours. But really, when we do some tapping and we dive deep, a good practitioner, so you can do this anyway, but having a practitioner in front of you that asks the right questions and takes you to the right places is what's really going to make the difference. So a good practitioner will take you somewhere, and let's just say for this example, it might just be that when you were 3 years old, you were walking up the hallway, your dad was working in his office, and you walked in there and said, hey, Daddy, look at this. And he goes, get out, I'm on the phone, and shut the door. Bang, that's it. Because that little 3-year-old felt so rejected that was her whole world, and her dad said no. So all of a sudden she's gone into this adulthood with her husband feeling completely like he's saying no and shutting the door in her face. But what it might be is that she may not be actually telling him or guiding him or asking him for what she wants. So here she is holding on to all this stuff. So when you come to me to talk about your husband, and all of a sudden I'll just say, well, close your eyes and maybe take yourself somewhere with the earliest memory where you felt the same emotion. And then all of a sudden you see your dad in the door. Like, you may very well see that, or you might have forgotten about it, but through a great practitioner's technique, we will find that. And you'll be able to access that, heal that place, and as an adult, the problem the problem is that something might have happened to us as a child. Let's just say, I mean, this is next level, but let's just talk about sexual abuse, okay? Let's just say that there was some sexual abuse as a child. Now you're an adult, but you've got all this guilt and blame, and you beat yourself up about something that happened to you that was not your fault. But what you're doing as an adult is you're taking responsibility like you should have known better. Like, just say you're 45 years old and you're owning it. So you're punishing that little girl or little boy as a 45-year-old because you should have known better. But through the beautiful modality and the gentleness of it, we can then go in and tap into that little boy or girl and let them forgive themselves and let them off the hook, because all we're doing is getting older, and each year we are getting wiser and we're putting more judgment onto that little child because we're thinking that they should have known better because we know better. Well, I'll tell you right now, a little 4, 5, 6 years, 10-year-old little child has no comprehension of what we do as an adult, but we find it really hard to differentiate that, so we just keep beating ourselves up. So as the years go by, we actually hate on ourselves even more. So we need to access that, forgive ourselves and release that, because we can push that into the physical, like you say. Everything's energy. So if emotion's energy and we're pushing it down, and it's anger or resentment, guilt, shame, whatever it might be, it's going to manifest into something physical. So we need to be doing modalities like this, like Reiki, like tapping, like walking in nature. It could be as simple as walking in nature or taking your shoes off and grounding. It could be just jumping in the ocean. Nature's there to look after us. And look, there's a time and place for medications, but it's not forever. So I find that medications have its place.
Yeah.
But I also know that nature is there to look after us. And it doesn't have to be how it is right now today, because we can change our mind tomorrow and we can find a practitioner to help us along the way. But if we're trying to do it all ourselves and we still feel stuck, reach out and ask for help.
Yeah.
Because that's what, asking for help's one thing, but taking it is another. And it's really hard to try and help someone close to you, like a family member or a partner, because that will trigger us as well. So even though I've got all these beautiful modalities, I still find it challenging to be available for those that are closest and that I love the most.
That's it.
Because there's still stuff I need to work on, because it's such a freaking daily activity.
What's that saying? Like a chef doesn't cook in their own house. An interior designer doesn't have a beautiful home.
Yeah, mechanic has a smashed car driving around.
Exactly. Our energy is so focused on everybody else that it's really hard to find time for ourselves. And you doing that for yourself would be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, I just, everything that you just said, I feel that echoing just through my soul so much. Like, you think about, like, going what you were saying, how we punish our younger self for anything, sexual abuse, whatever it is, even if it's rejection, like you said, from your parent, your father, your mother, whatever it is. Yeah. Like, that little girl or that little boy, even up to early 20s, like, I think of myself as a 20-year-old, I still didn't have no fucking idea who I was or what I was. So even if I was in that position in my 20s, whatever the rejection was or whatever the abuse was, it's still, like, if I punish that person, that's still, compared to a 4-year-old, like, even up until 20, it's still, you have no idea of what's going on, and you do put that energy onto that other person that they know better, and they are that whatever they are, the king, because we see our parents that they're the queen and the kings and of our lineage, and we'll do and so when we feel that rejection from them, that's heavy. It's really, really heavy stuff. So it doesn't really matter what age it is, it hurts.
Yeah,
it really hurts. And the 45-year-old self should never banish the 20-year-old self or the 4-year-old self or whatever it is. It's just, that's a heavy one. Is that the one that you see the most, do you think?
It's pretty profound.
Yeah,
it's pretty profound, because I see it as soon as someone comes in, and the more I do it, the more I can see where I'm going to take a session. But and it's interesting, because if we knew better, we wouldn't have done it.
Exactly.
So today we're the oldest we've ever been, the wisest we've ever been. So let's start acting it. You know? And then tomorrow we'll even be even wiser and more older.
Well, yeah. think of myself as like a teenager or even 20s and stuff like that. It's just like compared to what I know now, and it's like from 20 to now, what am I, 35, 36? So it's like 15 years ago, but there's just so much lessons. So it's full on. Yeah. It's very hard to heal that. But I think having practitioners like yourself, it's so important. And I know it's not for everybody, but when you sort of are so open-minded and tapping into that, like, again, we are energetic. We read off vibrations. Like I said this in one of my other episodes.
Yes.
You know, you speak to animals. Like, animals don't have language. They just have vibration.
Oh, yes.
So they know when to eat something that's not poisonous. They know when to see another creature that's a threat.
Yep.
But they do that from vibrations because they don't have language. But we have the voice. We have manipulation.
Yes.
We have all these things to lead us into the wrong way because we're not listening to vibration anymore.
Yes.
So vibration, if you think it's woo-woo or not, it's a fucking thing. It is so, like, you know, when you walk into a room and you feel the energy shifts, you feel something, uncomfortability or unsure of something. So that, it's all related.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, you know, I've got some friends that are just super realistic and they're just like, yeah, that what's up? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, well, see, energy, everything's energy, and that's actually, no matter how woo-woo you are or scientific, everybody agrees on that.
Yeah.
So when you talk about vibration and frequency, if you just come back to energy, it's the same. And maybe that's easier for them to understand and comprehend. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
And over time, you know who your people are to talk to about this stuff. And if they're not your people, as in those topics, you go elsewhere, but they're going to eventually catch up, or something's going to, you know, happen in their world where they're going to go, hang on a minute, maybe Steph has some insight to this. And then you start having those slow conversations. And I also find that the more we work on ourselves, and when I say work on ourselves, it's addressing those things that we get triggered by and all that sort of stuff. And it could be that you see things in other people that you just cannot stand anymore. And you feel like you don't vibrate the same frequency. You literally want to move away from them, or they irritate you, or whatever that is. And the more we work on ourselves, we become more clear as a channel. So we let go of the energy and we move up. Like, we literally vibrate higher. Exactly like you were saying about when you walk into that room and you can feel that heavy density of energy or that lightness, depending on what had just happened. And the more you lift, people around you that are still low vibing, let's say, will actually be threatened by you. So they don't know this. This is very much an energetic or a subconscious thing. So what they may very well do is try to pull you down to their level again by saying, who do you think you are? You just think you know everything. Why do you do things like that? You know, and maybe try to belittle you and pull you back down to where they're comfortable and they're safe. Because let's just say that's what happened in their family growing up. That their love was expressed through belittling and joking and that type of thing. And let's just think this is what they feel is where they need to be. So they might sit around the table with their family, and next thing they know, they're all hanging shit on each other and thinking they're bonding. But really, they're just literally breaking down everybody's self-esteem around them. So in life, they have someone all of a sudden that wants to work on themselves, and just say this is in a relationship, because I do have a retreat coming up in a few weeks called the Conscious Couples.
Beautiful.
Which is about partnerships, where I want people to come along who's ready to re-look at their connection with partner and work on moving forward together, because we are so different every day and we don't want to like work on ourselves and go in separate directions. That's the idea. We want to come back together. So let's just say you're clearing your energy and you're moving up your frequency, and someone's trying to pull you down. They're going to try and pull you down by either belittling you or whatever. And it's up to you if you choose to come back and go, yeah, you're right. Actually, I am being a dick. Or yeah, I don't deserve better. Or yeah, you're right. We're only going to have this much income forever. Whatever it might be, you come back. Or you stay there and you go, I'm sorry, this is where I'm at now. It's time that you either come with me or they'll drop away. And so what the scary part about working on yourself is it's not possible, it's actually probable that you will lose people you love along the journey. But let's hope that one day something happens or they query you and they come back to you to connect or ask you a question that is aligned, and they come back. Because usually they will do the full circle, whether it be a month, 2 years, 10 years. Usually they will come back if you wait long enough. But sometimes they just will not. So it can be lonely.
But that's okay. I think you jeopardizing your freedom, your emotional evolving self, keeping at a low vibration to please others is definitely that people-pleasing hat, or that fear of loneliness and being alone. But I feel that the more you are in your power, yes, you probably lose the ones that aren't willing to grow with you, but you do meet new people.
Oh, God, yeah.
So you're not alone. You just move on. But that's the scary part, because, you know, we can feel that change with a partner or a friendship or a relative or whatever the relationship is. You know, COVID was a really big platform for that, because that really gave people instant cuts or instant bondings.
Oh, yeah, that was harsh.
But it was great because you knew who your tribe was very, very quickly. It kind of, you just were like, look, you understood people's decisions and respected theirs, or people were just like, didn't agree with you and you're not my people, bye. So it was very harsh, but it did elevate us quicker to realising who our tribe was.
Yeah.
And that was a interesting one for me.
Yeah, I know, right? It was interesting for everyone, I think. And I think also the fallout from that is still happening, regardless if people are aware of it or not, because I think the main thing was I'm very much pro-choice. If people wanted to do one thing, great. If they didn't want to and get forced into it, not cool. And I think in that where people were, and look, there was a time where I was doing it myself because we were all new at it, right? Hindsight's a lovely thing. But I was so set in my decision of what was right for me that I thought that would be right for people I loved. And when it wasn't right for them, I was like feeling like I was losing them, and it was scary. So after a few months of living in that low vibe, and I realised that, everyone's signed up to be here. Everyone's signed up on a conscious level. I'm a big believer that we have this soul contract, and we've signed up to be here right now. We've signed up to have these people in our world. We've signed up to have these children, these parents, whatever it might be. But we also signed up to, have a pandemic, be in a life of so much technology, and have a look at artificial intelligence is well on its way.
That's scary.
Like, it's next level shit. But when we look at how scary it is, that's one thing. But when we look at the possibility of how much love and joy it could potentially bring, which it can, but equally it can't. But we've got to realise that, okay, if I signed up to be here, I'm going to focus on what I can do. I'm going to focus on the joy that I can connect with my people and I press Zoom. The joy that I can ring you straight away or FaceTime to see your face on the other side of the world. All of that sort of stuff. Or I can run and, this here is actually a pendant that's really good for EMFs because of all the radiation and stuff. So I'll do what I can. I'm not going to ignore the fact that we're in this type of environment.
You go insane if you try and to run away from everything, because it's impossible.
That's right.
All you can do is focus on what you can to cleanse or to balance. That's it.
A bit of everything's cool.
Of course.
Yeah. I had a few drinks on the weekend with my girls. I mean, I'm not silly.
Of course not. I'm going this weekend and I'm so excited to have a few drinks. Can't wait.
I know. It is a nice release.
It is. It's like not all the time, but it's a good it's every now and then. But you're right. Like, we are so surrounded by everything. So you need just to like they're a big distraction. That's the hard one. I can't even talk now. They're distracting from ourselves of our inner voice, what's actually happening. Because it's really hard to sit still and not check your phone or your emails or go onto the computer. So, I see it at night time when my son goes to bed. Like, I'm on my phone, my husband's on my phone, or the TV's going at the same time. Like, there's days where we're not talking, nights where we're not talking, we're just kind of like zoomed in. And it's like, imagine if we just turn the TV off, put the phones away, and just sat there. Like, how often does that happen in families?
Yeah, that's right.
And we actually hear that voice of how am I actually feeling? What's coming up?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we on the same path at the moment? Are
Yeah.
we, because you do, like, you know, women feel so much, but we suppress it because we don't want to put it on the man, because the man doesn't feel a lot. So, and that's where all this stuff coming, how you were saying before, how women are just like, I just want to connect with my husband, but it's stuff that, you know, they haven't healed, or it's distraction from actually doing that. So that's the hard one. But sitting in silence and stillness, it's a big way of medicine, and you are a beautiful reason for that, because people come to you for that stillness and that silence. And it's just like so much probably come up because when they're out of your comfort or out of your home or your office or wherever you do it, there's just so much energy and power and Wi-Fi and everything.
Life's
it's
loud, yeah.
very loud. So when you're with you, to just be like this vomit of everything.
Yeah.
Do you feel that would have a big thing because of the distractions in our world?
Yeah, I think like just for myself, I'll make sure each month I'll go and see a practitioner of my own just to cleanse everything that's come up for me, or I might go to a sound healing or something. And it's funny though, because when I do go to these group healing sessions, I'll always find a corner and hide away, like, because I don't actually want to be in that group environment when it's me becoming vulnerable, God forbid, you know, like here I am preaching all this shit, but when it comes to me, you know, just like the chef in the kitchen, what you were talking about before, but I still make a point of doing it because life is loud. And when I'm holding space for people, I need to be able to download that somewhere. And it was actually just the other day that I sought after a fellow medium who's become my mentor. And I just love spending time with her, talking about stuff that I can't really talk about just with friends and family or other colleagues or whatever it might be, because I need to put it somewhere and be in a professional setting and maintain my health. Because when we do this as a job, and as motherhood, fatherhood, whatever our role is, if we're not well, why the frig do we think we can help anyone else? You know what I mean? Yeah. And we have to maintain number one. So when we think about looking after ourselves as selfish, and we realise we flip that to selfless, because we know the analogy about the plane going down, right? When the oxygen comes down, you don't give it to the kid, because what happens, they're breathing and you're passed out. You've got to give it to yourself first so that you can help the kid or help whoever. So we really need to start with ourselves. And just going back to the conscious couples, just to give it a little plug, if you don't mind.
Go for it. Go for it.
So it's not until August the 11th, and it's in Hillsville, which is in Melbourne, Victoria. And it's just 2 nights with food and accommodation, and it's only for a small number. It's only for like 6 to 8 couples. It's not gender specific. And myself and a couple of other facilitators are just giving couples a space to come and reconnect, because we don't invest in ourselves. And we may very well be in a partnership where we're doing one thing, our partner's doing another, and it's just, we don't see that it's ever going to change. We say what we feel usually when we blow up, so it comes out maybe not nice, not direct, or whatever, you know. And it's just a space where we can come, we're going to have fun, we're going to have games, you know. There's even Marnie Hay from Redback Fitness, and she'll be doing like fun fitness. So there'll be boxing and all those type of things for all fitness levels, because we just want the connection. We've got Gail Wilson from Soul Care Bendigo. She's amazing, and there's going to be like little exercises where you know how you put your hands on each other's
like
hands?
the mimes, you know.
But you actually lead each other and just guide them through gentle touch.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I know that my clients, the women, would absolutely love it. Actually, I know the men, my clients, would absolutely love it. In the last few years, I've been getting quite a lot of male clients, which excites the shit out of me. Because, like, suicide is very, very profound, you know, very big. The numbers are up there. I think I was listening to something on the radio. In Victoria alone, I think they said there's 10 suicides a week. Would that be right?
Probably.
And 7 are male.
I think the suicide in men from the ages of, I think, 28 to 36, that's the age.
Yeah.
So also 36 to 40 or whatever it is. It's around the middle age sort of age where men have so much pressure. Men have financial pressures, being that provider, being that leader, and when they don't have that foundation, they feel like their worth is zero.
Yeah.
So that's usually where it comes from. And every man feels that in their life, every man, and it can get really intense if you don't have that platform to really understand what is happening, whether it's conversations with your partner, therapists, modalities like you, healing, meditation, prayer, whatever it could be, just sitting with yourself and not having that so much distraction, because it does, when it boils up, when something triggers it, and it can usually be a really hard moment, or when you're going through a time, then everything kind of feels really heavy. But when things are good, it's good and it's fine. But let's just pretend it doesn't exist. But then that's usually where it comes from with men, because they're shit communicators. I'll be honest, they're not great, but that's our job.
Yeah, I know. It sounds very sexist, the way you said that, but it's true,
It's
right?
true.
And, I mean, my husband, I think they say women are like got 6,000 words a day and men have got like 3,000. My husband comes home and I'll say something to him and he just says nothing. And I say, can you at least grunt? And he's like, ugh. And I'm like, no, seriously. And then I say other times, did you use all your words today? And he just looks at me and goes, I think so. And I'm like, okay, well, let me just book in a conversation. But you know what? We actually had the best conversation. So here I am, and like I said, I get guided to do these different retreats, and they're always different theme. I've got a spirit connection one in October, but this one is the conscious couples. So here I am going, the conscious couples. Am I even a conscious couple? Am I even...
Triggers yourself.
Exactly. So I thought, well, maybe I've got a bit of work to do. So I went to my husband and said, if you were to come to a retreat like this, what would you want? He goes, well, if we're going to work through the day, which we are, we're going to work on the connection, and the number one human need is to be understood. And you can't be understood if you're not communicating. And so he said, if you're going to work all day, I want a bit of fun at night. I don't know, wine tasting or trivia or something like that, a fire. Or, I'm like, yeah, cool. So I'm ticking all these boxes going, we can do that. But we had a really top conversation 2 weeks ago. And I said to him, the next day I texted him and I said, mate, just want to congratulate you on that conversation.
That's beautiful.
Because I think it was the best conversation we've had in our whole relationship.
Really?
We've been together like 13, 14 years. I've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old going on 21. But because life changes, we have to change with it. So he has stayed in his little structure the whole time. We've had kids for now 8 years, right? And he's doing the same thing, expecting that's the way it goes. Yet here I am doing all these different things and reinventing myself and all this sort of stuff. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm way over here and he's over here. And I'm going, hello, can I just have a chat? And he's like, yeah, just, there's my diary, schedule it in. And I'm like, whoa. So the thing is, yeah, we do sometimes have to schedule these things in, and we have to invest in our relationship and our communication. If we're not doing that, it's not going to happen. And I'm a relationship person. I've been in relationships ever since I was late teens. Some have been 5 years, some have been 8 years, but I'm a long-term relationship person. And I found that in my past, if I was to analyse the way I am, I think that we should have gone our separate ways or assessed our relationship, which we didn't because I was young and that's the way I was at the time. But the last 2 years of every relationship, we should have split up 2 years before. Because I know people are good. Some people are good at starting relationships. Other people are good at maintaining them. And other people are good at leaving them. So, the people that leave when things are going too good because it's not what they think they deserve and they try to sabotage it, blow it up and they leave. Other people just love the honeymoon period, all the rest. We're all different. But I was really good at starting them, maintaining them, but not great at ending them. So I would stay until we got nasty, until there was narcissism, until there was even cheating at times. And it was just, now I know that there's no way known I'm going to go through all that again. I'm glad it all happened, but I'm not going to relive that. So I go to my husband every couple of years and say, okay, now I've worked on myself and I've done this and I've done that. Now I'm scared that I'm going to go here and you're going to go there. Is there anything you can do to change that? He usually does one freaking thing and he matches me. I go, how the Did that just happen?
I hate that. Men are like that. It's like, even physically.
He gets it done.
Even physically. My husband does like, he's like, I've gained a bit of weight. He diets or does one fucking sit up and he's got abs again. I was like, fuck you. Are you serious?
Yeah.
But even emotionally, all it needs sometimes is one beautiful conversation, connection.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're back there.
Yeah. I think women can complicate it too much.
Of course we can. But I think like a lot of women hearing this would be like in the same boat. I just want that connection because with women, we connect instantly. Like, it's not that hard. Like, if you're willing to really be vulnerable and put it on the table, it happens so quickly. With men, you really got to wind it out. And it can take, if you're fearful of having conversations with your partner or any man in your life, you work it up in your head, and then you make it a really big deal. I did this the other day with actually my husband.
And then conversation time.
I know. And then he said he was going to wash the dishes, and then I went upstairs and the dishes wasn't washed, and I lost it. And I'm like, I had to catch myself. I'm like, why did I lose it? What's going on? I'm like, that's right. I've been wanting to talk to him about something, but I kept forgetting it wasn't there, and then he didn't do something for me, and then I lost it. I took it out on him because of that. So it was just like, I was very conscious that I did it, but the fact that it got there, I was a little bit upset at myself for letting it get there. But now it's just like, all right, something comes up, I just want to talk to you about it. Or let's have a, every few days or twice a week where we sit down, turn the TV off, turn the phones off, and just talk. Play board games, like you said. Just do fun things. Like we used to do yoga all the time. Just little things like that. Like, we haven't done it in a little while, but like when we did things like that, even if it was for an hour, and then we can go watch TV, or then we can do what we want to do. It's an investment. You have to book it, and I know people say it just really takes the sexy or the fun out of it, but if you don't do that, it's not going to get done.
That's it.
So you make it a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night or whatever it is. Like, I know it's different as well having kids. So, when you have kids, when they go to bed on a weekend, make the weekend fun. Do it on a Saturday night. Like, schedule it in. Schedule your time where you connect, whatever it is. It can be anything. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I think, my husband and I ended up having a big conversation last week, or the week before, whatever. The one conversation,
the groundbreaking,
has changed everything.
Beautiful.
But the thing was, it was because I allowed him to speak, and I asked the questions, and he made the time, and we were there, right? Because I didn't like what he said. It literally triggered the shit out of me, and I'm still working through it. I've actually gone back to him and said, could you please come back to me and reword that? Because what I heard was this. So I've even gone back to him. Still waiting on it, but that's the thing. See, that's how his brain works, not mine. I want to nut things out. I want to talk about it there and then. And when he's not ready, it's something I need to work on. So he's got like a high stress level job, a high profile job, you might say. He comes home from work and he's got a habit. He'll walk in, he'll crack a beer, he'll go down near the pool area, he'll sit there, do a few emails or whatever. So here I am waiting for him to get home. Oh, I can see his car pulling, and I run down near the pool and I stand there and I go, and this and this and this, and he looks at me and I go, and he'll just go, okay, whatever. And I'm like, whatever? What do you mean? And he goes, just leave it with me. Anyway, so when we had our conversation, he was like, well, I come home and you run up to me and you download on me and you do this. And I'm like, but I'm waiting all day patiently because, I'm like a puppy dog.
Help me, come and save me. Talk to me, love me.
Let me get you a cup of tea. Let me make you dinner. Do you need me to give you a massage? So I get all needy. And the thing is, I'm the chaser. God. He's the runner. So, now we've got things in place where I know, okay, great, because when I do my work, he says to me, you're going to a meditation, or you're having a sound healing, or you're going to a retreat, or you're doing this, you're doing... And I'm like, whoa. This is what my work does to me, and this is how I need to maintain. So we actually had a really open and honest conversation. Now I know what he needs, and I know what I need. We both don't like it, so to speak.
Of course.
But we're happy to make that space and compromise just because we heard each other, we communicated, and we understood.
Yeah. You got the maps to your own heart, each other's hearts.
Oh, nice.
So you kind of know where to go. Like, if you don't have that, because we treat our partners like we want them to treat us, but our love languages are completely different.
Yeah.
So having that map or that understanding through conversation is key, and like scheduling it in. Wednesday night's our chat night.
Yeah.
Turn your freaking phone off.
Yeah.
Turn that freaking TV off. We're talking.
Yeah.
And because it'll make me happy. It'll make me understand you, and it'll give me a little bit of what's going on in your head.
Yeah.
Because women just want to know, and men are a little bit more closed off in that. And women's, I think that's the beauty of us. We are so connected, and we crave that connection so deeply, and when we don't get it, we explode and we blame it on them.
Yeah.
But they just function completely different.
Yeah.
They're different creatures.
Yeah, and we are. And I remember a couple of years ago, I found out a friend, I think it was like a friend was pregnant or something. And when I found out, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I told him, and he's like,
Cool.
yeah, I know. And I was like, what? So here I am taking that personally, but he didn't see it as magical as I did. He just thought, oh yeah, that's cool. But you knew they were trying. And I'm like, but, and then, that was just something that he didn't value like I did. So here I am thinking, well, why is he keeping it from me? What's our problem? And making it something where he just went, well, it never come up. I didn't think about it. And that was it. And that was his truth. But I was ranting, you know what I mean?
Because our values are different.
Yeah.
It's like with our values with me and my husband. The bed needs to be made first thing in the morning. The dishes need to be changed before, the dishes need to be washed before we go to, like, after dinner straight away. Like, they're my things that... Non-negotiables for me. Like, I like a clean house, and I'm able to relax when those things are done.
Yeah.
Because it's just, okay, it's created more space, everything's a bit more area, it's out of my head, so I can move on with it. I've accomplished, so I can do everything else. But for him, he couldn't give two shits about that. Nah. If the dishes were done in the morning, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm the same as your husband.
Really?
My husband's you right now.
or if the bed's like not done, it's not the end of the world. But for me, it's just like our needs are different, and he just to create inner peace in my body.
That's right. Yeah.
But like, our needs are just very, very different in that stance. But when you understand each other's needs and each other's desires and what we actually want, it could be as stupid as the bed or the dishes, or as big as I need a hug, or I need love, or I need something. Like, the love starts with the small things, and then you can get to the big things. Yeah.
And what do they say? They say that when you get married, a man doesn't expect his wife to change, but the wife expects the man to change, and they're both very disappointed.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's incredibly accurate.
I know,
oh my
right?
God. But women, there's so much goes on in our world. We have babies. We transform completely from maiden to mother. We're different beings. We go through so much emotionally. Like, our days, depending on where we are in our cycles, where we are in our lives, what our friends, our relationships like with our mothers, with our friends, our daughters, whatever it is, there's just so much.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to relate. But connecting is very, very important.
It is.
Oh my goodness, this deferred a little bit to relationships. I love it.
But did it?
Definitely
it's
not.
all connected. It's all connected.
It is all connected. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about your workshop, because I'm just like, this sounds amazing. Tell me when it is, how much it is, all that stuff.
Okay, so it is in Healesville at the Matripa Centre, which is actually a Buddhist temple.
Cool.
But it's okay, we're eating meat, and there may very well be alcohol. Depending on who we attract and what people's needs are, because I really want to get a feel for the couples that are coming, what they need. So it'll be very personable.
Yeah.
And then, we've got quite a drafted program already, but depending on who comes, I flow with these things. And so it's Friday the 11th of August, and I think it's like 4 o'clock check-in, and everybody gets a room. Now, some couples might want a single room. So, they very well might want to have their own space through the time. So it's their choice. That doesn't mean anything to me. And all beautiful, nutritious meals. So everything's included. They don't have to lift a finger. They just come and receive. It's for couples that really want to do some work on their relationship, or just want a holiday, because either or, they're going to have fun. The fun theme is going to be throughout, because that's what the noisy life takes away from us at times. So we really want to focus on that. And it's from Friday night to Sunday afternoon after lunch. So 2 nights. in the beautiful tranquil hills of Hillsville.
I love Hillsville.
It's
so nice up
beautiful.
there. Gorgeous.
Yeah, and so we'll have we're going to put free time around the place because people can go for nice bushwalks and just maybe have space in their room or have a sleep on the grass or whatever that looks like. I mean, it is in winter, it is quite fresh, but connecting with nature is very important. We'll be having some different workshops that include, look, no doubt I'll be doing some EFT along the way because we do want to tap whatever's coming up. We will be touching upon the love languages because, if we've got a love language, and if you don't know what love languages are, I know you do, Steph, there's physical touch, there's quality time, acts of service, what's the other two? Acts of service, quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation.
And gifts.
Gift giving.
I feel like I'm all of them, but gifts. Gifts are not a big one for me, but all the others I relate to so much.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting because I want so there's an easy quiz to do online.
I do it every couple of months because I feel it
change,
changes.
right? I know, and that's good to know.
And I send it to my husband every now and then because I really want to know it because, again, it's another map to their heart.
Yeah.
And I want to know so I can do it to connect more.
That's right.
Because what's the website? I think it's just lovelanguages.com.
I think so.
Yeah,
something
I'll
like
put it in
that.
the show notes.
Yeah, great. So it's really nice. So I'm going to actually get people to do their quiz to see what they are, but I want them to actually do the quiz thinking about what their partner is.
Yeah.
And then compare notes to see if they've got it right.
Yeah.
Because I remember, again, I did a relationship workshop many years ago and we did the love languages, and then again I was like, oh, maybe I should do it with my husband, before I teach it. I've got to experience it. So it was funny because I found that my love language was physical touch and his love language was quality time, which made sense because there was this one particular time I was at my mum's and I was visiting my mum and my sister was there and I had family there and they were literally like, oh, Connie, your hair looks good, and they were sort of touching my hair and touching, oh, that's a nice top, or you're looking good. So they were touching me. So here I am feeling so loved and I was in my element. And then I remember my partner, we weren't married at the time, but he rang and he said, oh, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm just at mum's. He goes, oh, okay. And I said, oh, you want me to come home? He's like, no, you do what you want. I'm like, okay. Hung up and I go, oh, he wants me home, like the words that were unsaid. So I went home and then the next thing you know, I'm sitting there on one couch, he was on the other, and we're watching TV. And I'm going, what the hell? I was at mum's getting all this love and all of a sudden I'm just sitting here. This is boring. But then I realised when quality time was his love. So me sitting on that couch, not even touching him, was him feeling loved.
Wow.
And here I am feeling disconnected because he wasn't touching me. So anyway, I discussed what the love languages with him, and I remember that night we went to bed and he'll do the whole roll over and I'm like, and he just put his hand on my leg and I was like happy as a pig in shit. So I was feeling so loved.
Isn't it funny? Because it doesn't have to be sexual.
No.
It could just be a hug, a kiss, a touch on the friggin' leg.
I say to him, can you just pat me on the bum and smack it as you walk past, please? And he does
Give
it.
me a happy slap.
I just want to smack on my bum. How hard is it? You're walking past anyway. You're waving your arms. You might as well extend your hand. Seriously. Give me a little sugar.
I love that. It's so important.
You got to ask for what you want.
Mate, how are you supposed to know? Like we said, we're so different. Men and women, we are completely on different planets.
We are.
So when it comes to understanding what each other's or what we need, because sometimes we don't even know what we need. And that's the beautiful part of honesty and vulnerability. When we understand what we need individually, we can communicate to everybody else and to our people that matter how to communicate to us. Touch, I like to be touched. I like a gift every now and then. I like whatever it is every now and then.
Yeah.
So just having that is so important.
I know. And then you get the situations where, your partner does bring some flowers home and you're like, what have you done?
What's wrong?
Suspicious.
What's
this for?
I know.
And they're going, oh my God, I just can't get it right.
I can't freaking win.
Or you ask for a cup of tea for ages and you never make me a cup of tea, and the day they do, you go, oh, you're only doing it because I asked. No, oh, for fuck's sake.
It's so hard. Sometimes you just... Well, he's just like, why did you give me those flowers? Asking. Yeah. But I don't know. It's just, it's a hard one. Yeah. I think it's just being grateful, being present, listening, stop over-evaluating, because men are so simple.
I know.
They are, and we're just so freaking
I know.
complicated.
Yeah.
It's just taking the complexity out of their actions is a big one.
Yeah.
Because they're not us.
Yeah.
So having that conversation of asking what's going on in their head, because we don't know.
No.
Because we're evaluating their head like it's our head when it's not our head.
I know. I tell him sometimes, literally, this is what I've been thinking, and this is what and he looks at me and just goes,
"You're crazy.
Are you serious? Are you serious? That's what you got from that?" I'm like, "Well, didn't you?" Other times I'll say, "What are you thinking?" And he'll go, "Nothing." And I go, "Oh, come on, you got to be thinking something." He goes, "No, I'm seriously not." I'm like,
not.
"How do you do that? Let me."
I've done that too with Mark. I'm just like, "What's going on in your head?
talent.
What are you thinking?" He's like, "Nothing." I'm like, how could you not be thinking about anything in
I
this
know.
intense moment? I'm thinking so much.
Yeah.
But we're just men are from, what is it? Men are from Mars, women from Venus. It's such a,
Best
so
book.
true. It
I
is.
love that book.
It's
I should
beautiful.
read it again,
Yeah, it's an
actually.
oldie. It's an 80s, 70s
Oh,
book.
yeah. It's a beauty, though.
It's an oldie, but it's a goodie.
I laughed a lot through it because it was so true.
I need to read it again because it's been a little while since I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I'm really excited. I'm definitely gonna put your workshop out there.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
And hopefully it fits with our schedule too. But I am very intrigued. What's the costing with it?
It's anywhere from, for a couple.
Mm-hmm.
The whole weekend is anywhere from $1,777 to $1,555.
Depending how many people come.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I just did tier 1, tier 2.
Oh,
so
perfect.
If tickets are on sale, I think it's what's Wednesday? The 12th? Potentially 12th of July. When you purchase a ticket by the 12th of July for your couple, it's $1,555.
Yeah.
And then a week later it's $1,666.
Yep.
And then
Gotcha.
a week later it's
Gotcha.
$1,777.
Yep. The early birds.
Ticket sales will be finished by the end of July.
Beautiful.
So, and we're only taking 6 to 8 couples.
Okay.
I don't want it big. I want it to be intimate. I want it to be direct, and
Yeah.
I want the couples to leave going, wow.
Yeah.
Because that's an investment. That's an investment in your time, into your heart, into your mind, your body and soul.
So people that associate you with, I'm going to use their words, not mine. When I mean collectively, like we were too spiritual, not my jam.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Well, again, going back to what we said earlier, you know who to speak to. You know who is resonating. It's interesting because I change my job description depending on who I speak with.
Yeah.
So it might be an empowerment coach. It might be an EFT practitioner. It might be a psychic medium. You know, it might be a retreat facilitator. They're all the same.
Yeah.
To me, I just help people be their best version regardless. I work closely for spirit. I say that I work for spirit. And that's just who I am. And it's taken me a long time to own that. And it was only recently that I put my upcoming events in the school's newsletter.
Because you were ashamed, embarrassed?
Well, I didn't know it was an option at the time.
Okay.
But when I did do it, I went send to the email and went, oh, well, there it is. Everybody knows now, you know. And it was a big deal for me.
Of course. I can imagine.
So I go through all those type of things, you know, because I know that, like, if I do it, like, each month, I do bring spirit messages through for an audience at just in Greensborough, and it's just a monthly thing, and tickets are from $22 to $35, so it's just a 2-hour thing with me and my other friend who's a medium, and we bring spirit through, and we put it on some of the local pages sometimes, and you get those remarks saying, oh, you charlatan, how dare you, and all this sort of stuff, and, you know, you're just taking people's money and making money out of it. Oh, they're really nasty.
Oh, that's awful.
So at first when all that happened, I was like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Like, this is so real, because I work with evidence-based. So I will channel messages and give evidence so that whoever's receiving the message knows that I've got that person before I give them the message. That's how I've been trained, and I've been sitting in circle on and off for over 10 years. And it's just a lifelong thing anyway. But it was interesting because my friend said when you get those type of remarks, any conversation's a good conversation. And I'm like, what do you mean? And it's like, and she said, well, you respond. And you say, I see what you mean. There is a lot out there that's like that, but we are evidence-based, and then you get an opportunity to explain, because the onlookers, see, there's 80% of people that do not comment on Facebook, for example. They're just the watchers.
The watchers.
They're the ones. And you know what? This particular time when we shared that event, You should have seen the ticket sales. I've never sold an event out that quick.
Really?
It was just people just purchasing the ticket, just taking the link and just buying. And we sold out our show within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Which is something, because there was 40 tickets, and that's something local that I've never
amazing.
done before.
See, when you're in your power, when you don't give a shit about the outside noise, you just do it because it's, you know, authenticity. It's your authentic self.
Yeah.
It's your power, and you're here to connect with those who want to be connected with.
That's right.
And to the people that are asking questions, you've got, like you said, you've got that opportunity to defend yourself and to defend your power and why you're actually doing this. So I felt that every time I pressed upload on an episode,
right?
especially when I started.
There it goes.
There it goes. Whatever happens, happens.
That's
Because
it.
I'm being 100% raw and vulnerable every step of the way.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It can be very, very scary, but it is a muscle and we have to practice it. And these workshops that you are hosting give permission to do that and to connect with each other and ourselves, especially ourselves.
Oh, God, it's all ourselves. It's always about ourselves.
Of
Whenever
course.
people piss us off, whenever something happens in our world, it's all about how we reacted and what we could have done differently, you know, what lessons we learned. It's all about us, always.
Oh, so amazing. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
Oh, I love you. Thank you
love
so
you.
much for doing
My
this with
pleasure,
me.
gorgeous.
It's been so fun.
It's been great. It's a really nice catch up.
I
right?
know, it's nice
But
to
everyone has
catch up.
benefits. Our conversation wouldn't have been much different, right?
No way. This is the thing. Like, I love connecting with people that just vibe with me. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like the same, but the camera's not even there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
These are the conversations that I enjoy having with people around me and
Yeah.
just connecting and feeling like we can be our 100% authentic self.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
it.
that.
Yeah, same.
But where can people find you, Connie?
So my website is thehealingacademyaustralia.com. Hang on. Thehealingacademyaustralia.com.au.
I'll put in the show notes as well.
Please, is it thehealingacademy.com.au? I don't even know. I don't actually visit myself often.
It's like my Instagram tag.
Yeah.
I always forget it.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, I think Instagram is the Healing Academy with Connie Rose, so it's
Okay.
even different.
It's even
again.
different.
So please just share the link.
I will. I'll put all the show notes, especially your conscious couples
Yes, please.
workshop will also
Yes.
be in there.
Fantastic.
I'm really excited about that one.
Yes, so am I.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
is that what you're doing at the moment? Is that what's coming? What's happening?
Yeah, so our monthly audience soul readings, the next one is July the 14th. So I'm not sure when this is airing. But we do that usually the first Friday of every month anyway.
Yeah.
In Greensboro, Victoria. And I'm also got a mediumship development course.
Cool.
That's starting at the start of mid-July as well. And yeah, that retreat is the 11th of August. And then I've got a 3-day retreat in October, which is called Spirit Whispers.
Cool.
And that's for people who really want to enhance their connection with spirit.
Yeah.
So there'll be psychic, there'll be intuition, there'll be mediumship,
Wow.
there'll be lots of different workshops. Again at Hillsville. It's called the Matripa Centre.
Cool.
If anybody wants
Yeah.
to check it out.
It's the Buddhist temple?
That's the Buddhist
Yeah,
temple.
nice.
And that will have different psychic mediums doing different workshops and again food accommodation, and it's just a really really beautiful vibe. So that's for 2023. I'll also be working at the Kindred Spirit Festival, which is in October, I think.
Nice.
And Seven Sisters Festival
Yes.
in October too.
I don't know when that is.
Yeah, it's a
Seven
week
Sisters.
before there. Actually,
Yeah,
so
they're
I'll
close.
be working flat
Cool.
out between now
Busy,
and
busy, lots going on, but that's great.
Yeah,
I
it
think the
is.
more the busier you are, the more organised you have
Yeah,
to be.
yeah.
And that just creates, I like being busy personally.
Same. But what I have also considered is the financial market.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
I've been very realistic with the
It's been
investment.
so
for
heavy at
these
the moment,
things.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been next level.
I know. So I'm
$7
happy,
coffees and all.
I know, right? So I'm happy to talk about payment plans and to make these things realistic, because I feel like it is a mass awakening at the moment for the collective, and we are stepping up, and it's time that we all do what we need to do to stay well
Yeah.
And I want to make that very achievable. And if not me, I've got a lot of other light workers I can connect people with.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to sit well. You got to vibe with the person. You got to feel that you can open up with that person. You got to feel comfortable. There's so many things, and that's why I think we vibe so well, because I'm so myself and comfortable with you.
Right back at you.
Oh, love you, darling.
Love you.
No, well, thank you again.
Thank you.
No worries, and thank you so much for listening. Where you're listening from. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Peace.
That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed the episode and received a few good takeaways from it. If anyone popped into mind while you were listening that you feel may benefit from it, please share it across. Your support really helps promote my podcast. And to follow all the latest things that I'm up to at the moment, you can find me on Instagram at Steph Marie Holistic Healing. Thank you again, guys. Have the best day, and we'll see you on the next episode.